What's going on, everybody? Welcome to LTMB Live. This is another episode of Let the Madness Begin. I'm your host, Will Gaylord. If any of you have seen the show before, you will notice that I am alone. I'm solo on this mission tonight. My fellow co-host, Mike White, is unavailable tonight. And he did give me a little bit of authority to share, I guess in not too many details why he's not here, but he got faced with a situation with the police, and seems like from the details that I heard, seems like it's a very frivolous matter, very flimsy, what he's dealing with. But he did get profiled, he did get assaulted, so that's what he's dealing with right now. So he will be available on the next program, and that's going to be up to him to, if he wants to share the details. I'm sure he will, because it is very much connected to what we talk about all the time here, and that's misuse of authority, police exerting their control, or going overboard, exerting their control. So again, I'm sure he has a story to tell. I heard a little bit of it, and sure, on the next broadcast, that will be something that we address. So everybody, I'm glad that you're here. So yeah, tonight I'm gonna do a little bit of an abbreviated show. I don't think we'll go as long as we usually do, because one, this show is not the same without my fellow co-host, Mike White. So there's certain things that we need to delve in together to really get at the heart at, to really discuss, and kind of try to dissect. So there's gonna be some issues that I'm not going to talk about tonight, but there's gonna be some that I will. One other thing that is not going to be available tonight is the call-in feature. Still having problems with that. I've come to the conclusion that Skype will not work anymore. It's just a no-go. I believe we do have another option, and I believe somebody had mentioned the Zoom, and I looked at Zoom, and actually there is a free option, like somebody had said. I can't remember who said that. Maybe it was Kevin. But seems like that may work. I'm gonna have to do some testing with it, but it seems like it may work. So hopefully by the next program we'll have that up and running for you. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing all right tonight, and let's just dive right in. We don't even have Facebook here, because I'm not even gonna be bothered with that. Like I said, this is a two-man operation. It really needs to be a three-person operation. So with just me, I'm just gonna keep it kind of basic, kind of simple for tonight, and we'll get through this. So of course, today, biggest news of today was net neutrality. And net neutrality is now dead. It was officially killed by the Republicans on the Republican commissioners on the board, Republican commissioners within the FCC. So along with the FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, Commissioners Michael O'Reilly and Commissioner Brendan Carr voted to repeal the rules that were set in place under then President Barack Obama in 2015. I do want to, give a quick shout out to the commissioners Jessica Rosenworcel and Commissioner Mignon Clyburn for dissenting. And I'm sure a lot of people were watching that today. We posted the links onto the Facebook page, and I was watching along, and the statements were long, but they were appreciated from Rosenworcel and Clyburn, at least. The other statements that were made by the three that approved this repeal were nonsensical. They were absolutely ridiculous. They basically made the case that we don't need these heavy-handed government regulations. And you heard that time and time again. Heavy-handed government regulations. They're unneeded. And they made a few other claims, like repealing these net neutrality rules will increase innovation, and that these rules were really going overboard. It was Obama's administration going overboard with regulations when there was no need to. So they tried to create the kind of narrative that we don't need to instill protections for consumers because nothing had happened. So it's okay if we put consumers at risk because we're going to increase transparency. You know, we're going to make it so that these ISPs, these internet service providers, we're going to make it so that they are transparent with their actions, as if that's actually going to do something. I believe on the last show we discussed that it was the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the FCC that was going to be banding together, and they were going to be now policing the internet. But if something does happen, we know that, you know, first, if there is an action that polices the internet, if the FTC actually does something that says, hey, these ISPs are actually exceeding their authority, they're not doing right by consumers, we're going to step in and actually do something. It's not going to be till a long while later, a long time after we're feeling the result of whatever action that they're doing. If they're suppressing content, if they're blocking content, if they're putting a premium on content, setting up slow lanes and fast lanes. This is all going to be well after they do that. And it's going to have to be a case where there's going to be a large magnitude of people that are expressing their displeasure with what's going on. So this whole notion that there's still going to be a police, there's still going to be some avenue that consumers can go through to say that, hey, I need you to do something here. It's come on, it's a cockamamie idea. It's just not going to happen. What we actually do need are regulations. When we deregulate anything, what happens? You put consumers, you put consumers in the hands of big business, and you say to them, big business, we're going to trust you to do whatever the hell you want to, but we're going to trust you to do right by the consumers and not screw them over. But they always do that because they have the power to. We know that big business is all about greed. It's all about profit, and it's whatever they can do to maximize their profits, they will do. So that's why regulations are needed. That's why agencies like the CFPB is needed. That's why they're necessary, so that they protect the consumers. So as of right now, like I said, net neutrality is dead. Now, I don't believe that's the final final nail in the coffin. You know, it's not over. The clock is ticking on to death. So this isn't something that's going to last forever. We are going to get these rules back in place because they are necessary. We know what's going to happen, and we can't allow it to happen. There's the only reason that they are doing this, and you really have to look at the past, because the proponents of repealing this rule, of repealing the net neutrality bill, they go back to say that, hey, this was something that was established in 2015. It wasn't always here, so if the internet survived without it, then why do we need these protections in place? It was just government overreach. There's no reason to have them. But then, look, you have to actually think about history, okay? So back before 2015, and back, when the internet really got relevant in the 90s and then the 2000s, what was still relevant back then was cable subscriptions. So you didn't see a large exodus of people leaving their traditional cable subscriptions until you know, some years ago, a few years ago, when streaming services became very popular and people started saying that, you know, I'm not going to pay these ridiculous costs for these, you know, for Time Warner Cable and Comcast and Charter. I'm not going to pay these ridiculous costs. I can get my content online. I can go on YouTube. I can go to Netflix. I can go to Amazon, Hulu, whatever the case. I can get whatever content I need online. So this creates a situation where big business has to say, okay, how are we going to start recouping these costs? How are we going to bring these people back in so that we're not losing this money? You think that has something to do with trying to repeal net neutrality rules? You think that has, you know, like, is it connected to trying to suppress content and trying to put a premium on content? Trying to say, well, hey, content creator, if you really want your content to be spread throughout and get a larger base, a larger audience, well, you're going to have to pay us a little bit of a premium. You know, it's going to be better for you. So you should, you know, you should go ahead and go through that route. You know, it's going to be better for you. So, you know, why don't you do that? They want a piece of the action because they know that they're losing money. We're in a whole new era here where they are losing money because people are foregoing their traditional cable subscriptions. So this is just another way to increase the profit. So we know exactly what's going on. And, you know, like I said, it's dead right now. Right now it's dead. But it's a long way from over. Before and during the hearing, there was a rally going on outside, and one of the commissioners, Clyburn, she spoke at the rally too. So there's a lot of awareness going on. I'm sure a lot of people know exactly what's going on with this, but sadly there's a lot of people that don't exactly know what net neutrality is. So there is some more increased awareness that needs to be offered to the masses. And I'm sure there's going to be a challenge in court on this issue. I'm sure of it. It was already mentioned. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. This was an expected result. We expected the Republicans to vote for repealing the rules, and they did. So we saw this coming. Now, what was interesting about the hearing too was that it looked like there was an apparent bomb threat during the FCC chairman's little spiel that he was offering. As he was talking, he was handed a note, and he said it was because of a security issue, people had to get out of the building. And then you heard a voice saying that everybody needed to leave. Everybody needed to leave exactly what they had right there in the room, and just leave with just their person. Just get out of the building. And I believe it was the Hills feed that was still running, and you could see a police officer and a dog was in the room and was sniffing. You know, my guess, of course, would be that they were sniffing for some type of bomb-making material or anything like that. But doesn't look like they found anything, and the hearing proceeded, and they did vote, and like I said, they killed net neutrality. So that's where we're at right now. I believe it was before this hearing, I think it was yesterday, Anonymous, the organization Anonymous, they had threatened the FCC with a cyber attack, a DDoS attack. And what's kind of funny was that for a period of time yesterday, on Wednesday, internet service at the FCC was down. Now, I don't know if one and the two are related. We have no definitive proof that the Anonymous was successful with their cyber attacks, but internet service was down for a little while, so that's at least a little bit funny. But there's nothing funny about what happened. This decision is not going to increase innovation. Is going to trample on our rights, really. It's going to trample on our freedom of the internet. It's going to trample on innovation. It's going to kill ideas, and content creators are going to have to work that much harder to grow. to grow their voice, to grow their business, to increase their audience. May not happen tomorrow, may not happen next month, but it's going to happen, because the only reason that you would make this decision is so that you would do that. Nothing in this decision leads to more innovation. This is a loss for the freedom and exchange of ideas. So that's that. Another big story, and we were following this on Facebook. Oh, well, at the end of the show on Tuesday night, and then we do a after show on Facebook at the end of the show, and we were following the election in Alabama, the Senate race, and he pulled it off. Democratic hopeful, now soon to be Senator Doug Jones, he defeated Judge Roy Moore, the Republican from Alabama. It was, I don't know, I think it was unexpected. I think I said, well, on Facebook, I said, when all of these accusations came out a few weeks ago, I thought that was, Roy Moore was cooked. That was it. It's done. It's over for him, because I don't think he could survive that, especially noting how Mitch McConnell and other Republicans distanced themselves from him and said that they don't want him in the Senate. We have integrity. Our integrity comes before the party. And if he does make it to the Senate, he's, we might censure him, or I forget exactly what they said, but they didn't want him anywhere near the Senate. He's a bad look for the Senate. So I thought that was game over. He would lose, and lose in dramatic fashion. But then after that, there were a number of Republicans, Steve Bannon, there were a number of media personalities that came to his defense. There was this large effort just to defend him and protect him and say that he is exactly what the country needs. He's exactly what Alabama needs. So he started making up that ground, because he had lost in the polls. He had lost some ground to Doug Jones, but he had made that back up. And by that point, by the point of Tuesday, I'm thinking, this is Alabama. This is the deep South. I heard somebody call it ruby red. It is blood red. It's very dark. It's the deep South Alabama. So I expected a win, but as we see now, he has lost. Doug Jones will be the next senator from the state of Alabama. And what's funny is that Roy Moore has still refused to concede the election. Now, 99% of the precincts were, reported by Tuesday night, by the time that we got off on Facebook. And Moore was down about 21,000 votes. Down about 21,000 votes. Now, when he came out, he actually did come out on his stage at his headquarters. He came out on stage on Tuesday night and said that, hey, this thing is not over. Look, we talked to the Secretary of State. There's a long way off before before he certifies the results. There's still some votes that needs to be counted. And if we get within 0.5% of Doug Jones' total, then hey, this thing is an automatic recount. That's state law in Alabama. So this thing's a long way off. That was Tuesday night. Now, nobody else seems to believe that this thing is still in the balance. Donald Trump put out a tweet saying that, hey, congratulations, Doug Jones. It's over. Nobody else is seemingly impressed and saying or thinking that Roy Moore still has a chance, except Roy Moore's camp. And further defying the odds, I guess, or just, I guess, thumbing his nose as what's likely going to happen, he put out a video on Wednesday. He put it on YouTube and failed to concede again. He said that he's waiting for the provisional votes. He's waiting for the provisional ballots, and he's waiting for the military votes to be counted. Somehow he thinks that's going to get him within 0.5%. I don't see it. Even the Secretary of State in Alabama says that it's very unlikely that very unlikely that Moore is actually going to win. Like I said, the guy is down by 21,000 votes. It's just not going to happen. Now, the write-in votes amounted to almost 23,000 votes. So I have seen some articles saying that, I mean, since the write-in votes are technically more than the amount of votes that Jones won by, then technically, you know, if all those votes were for Roy Moore, then he could win. But we know that's not reality. We know that those votes are probably for a write-in candidate, like somebody else. I'm sure a lot of people voted for Luther Strange. To write in Roy Moore when he was on the ballot doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, like, he's on the ballot. Why would you press write in? It doesn't make a lot of sense. I know people do things very strangely sometimes, but I don't think I don't think a large amount of people are doing things that strangely. You know, I'm sorry, I think it's over. But he did say some interesting things in his little, I think it was about a 4 or 5 minute video that he posted. This is one quote that he said. He said, our forefathers recognized in the Declaration of Independence that all men and women are created equal. And that's an interesting statement to make, especially when you consider that he put his name on a lecture led by somebody that was saying that women and men are not equal. He worked on that lecture. We talked about that a few shows ago. This was some years ago, and the lecture is actually can be bought on Amazon. In this lecture, the belief is spread that, or actually they're trying to educate men. This is directed towards men, trying to educate men that women should not be in a position of authority. They should not hold office. They should not be voted for that office. And the only roles that they should hold are as homemaker and mother. They are subservient. So Roy Moore is saying that all men and women are created equal. I'm calling BS. I don't believe you. That's not really what you think. He also said, this is a quote. He said, abortion, sodomy, and materialism have taken the place of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, okay. I know this guy is a, religious guy. At least he says that he is. He tries to put forth that image. And I understand that he is totally against abortion. But why did he name sodomy? Like, why do you name sodomy when you're saying that these things have taken the place of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Sodomy is responsible for this country's ails? Like, sodomy is why we as a country are not prospering? That's why this country is in the shambles? That's why, we have so many problems because of sodomy? Yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Nope, not buying that. Also, he said, quote, our economy is faltering under an enormous national debt. I'm glad you recognize that, Roy Moore. Our economy is faltering under an enormous national debt. So why would you support the GOP's tax bill that is sure to increase our deficit? Why would you do that? Because according to the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, is going to increase the deficit by $1.5 trillion over 10 years and even more after that. If you're concerned with the deficit, why would you? Come on. Again, BS. Thankfully, I believe, hopefully, this is the last time we will have to speak about Judge Roy Moore. I'm really hoping that, because I don't believe he's going to be relevant anymore. I don't believe that he will hold office again. I don't believe that. So hopefully Freddy Krueger Freddy Krueger, as Mike coined the phrase, called him Freddy Krueger. He is a monster. Hopefully he will ride off on Sassy, his horse, right off into the sunset, and we won't have to hear about this guy ever again. Okay, just go away, okay. Keep him away from young girls, though. Keep him away from young girls. We know what he likes. And another note on Doug Jones too. I'm glad that Roy Moore lost. Doug Jones is not the best candidate. Somebody made the point on the last show that, yeah, Doug Jones could have been a better candidate. He definitely could have. He does seem like a corporate Democrat. There were some positions that I did agree with him on, but there's some that I didn't. And it felt like on the economy, I don't really agree with him, because the things that he was saying was he did support tax cuts for corporations, and that's just, it's not recognizing reality. If you say that corporations need a tax cut, well, then I would be forced to believe that you're not recognizing that they don't actually pay 35% in taxes. Like it's obvious you don't know that information. It's obvious you wouldn't know that the effective tax rate is actually like 18.6%, and that huge corporations like Walmart, Wells Fargo, do not pay taxes at all. They have a negative footprint. They get a rebate in taxes. So if your agenda involves creating jobs, making sure that there is an environment that will foster innovation and job growth in this country, it doesn't start with tax cuts for corporations. That's not where it starts. It starts with putting more money in the hands of the spenders, which is the middle class, poor people. They spend money. They are the ones that foster a very robust economy. But, you know, that's just my take. So, all right, anyway, but yeah, I'm glad that Roy Moore is defeated, but yeah, we still have to recognize that Doug Jones is a Democrat. Seems like he's a corporate Democrat, and we're gonna have to hold his feet to the fire just like any other corporate Democrat. I'm not gonna put Hillary Clinton on him, because this is, it seems somewhat similar to 2016, the presidential election. We had two horrible candidates. Doug Jones, I don't know if I'm gonna call him a horrible candidate. Like I said, he's a Democrat. He's a corporate Democrat. I don't like that, but I'm not gonna put Hillary Clinton on him. I was steadfastly against Hillary Clinton. Doug Jones, like I said, he's not. At least I don't know him to be Hillary Clinton yet. let's just say that. Certain positions I like, certain positions I don't. Is he the corrupt animal that Hillary Clinton is? I don't have any information to say that, but we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. But again, good thing that Roy Moore is not going to be in the Senate. All right, so let's move on. All right, so to the tax reform, I talked a little bit about it just a few minutes ago. So seems like there's a few hurdles for the Republican Party in their agenda as it relates to getting this tax bill passed through the Senate, passed through Congress, and onto President Trump's desk to sign. Susan Collins, Senator Susan Collins, she has said now she voted for the Senate bill just a few days, just recently, but she's not sure how she's going to vote on the final bill. Now, her issue is the 4% tax cut on Medicare payments. Now, she has said that she's been given assurances that those cuts won't take place. But I believe there's an issue here because whoever she spoke with, Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, said that he was not involved in those discussions, in those negotiations. So she has said that she's confident that, those cuts to Medicare won't take place, to those Medicare payments won't take place. But I'm not sure. Obviously, she's not sure as well. If that does happen, she might be a no. Also, who might be a no is Senator Marco Rubio. Today, on Thursday, he announced that right now, currently, he's a no on the GOP tax plan. And that's because he wants a significant increase in the child tax credit. Now, he has said this before. While this was taking place in the House and in the Senate weeks ago, he said that he wanted an increase in the child tax credit. Now, currently, I believe in the Senate bill, it was already going to be doubled because currently it's at $1,000, up to $1,000 tax credit, and it will be doubled to up to a $2,000 tax credit. That's not enough for Senator Marco Rubio. He wants more. And he says that if he does not get that, then he is going to be a no on this GOP tax plan. Now, is he just bluffing, or is he actually telling the truth? I don't know. I would lean more to Rubio bluffing. Rubio is a Republican through and through, and he's talked several times about cutting the corporate tax rate, and this is their chance. Also, they get to repeal the Obamacare mandate, something else that Senator Marco Rubio wants to accomplish. I think this is just talk right now. I don't really believe that he's going to be a no. I don't buy that. And we all know that the only Republican that did vote against the Senate GOP tax bill was Senator Bob Corker. And of course, he's still a no because he understands that the deficit will increase and he's not comfortable with that. He's the only one that can say that because he is retiring. He is not seeking re-election, so he can be honest about it. All these other Republicans, these Republican senators, are not being honest in the media in their statements. We all know that it's going to increase the deficit significantly, but they're okay with that. Why are they okay with that? Because we know what's coming. Well, one, they're going to give massive gifts to the rich, to the corporations, to big business, but also to somewhat mitigate the increase in the deficit. They're going to attack Medicare, Medicaid, education, Social Security. We know that's coming. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan has already admitted that that's on the agenda next. So they don't care. They do not care. So but still, these are some hurdles that the GOP is going to have to deal with, and this is another thing too. I'm not sure that this is going to be a problem because it looks like they're trying to speed through this thing and rush it through before even the holiday. So they could even get to a vote by next week on this, because right now they're trying to coordinate with the House of Representatives and they're, what they passed in the House, and they're trying to combine the two bills so that both houses are happy about it. I believe some of the headway they're making, I saw that they're not going to fully repeal the death tax, the estate tax. What they're going to do is increase it. I believe they're going to double it. But they're not going to fully repeal it. What else? There were a few other things that I saw that they were going to do, but right now it's kind of premature to talk about it because they haven't solidified it at all. But it's still all bad. It's still all bad. It's still all bad for the regular human. It's still going to be all bad. But yeah, since they're trying to ram it through and trying to get it done before the holiday, that means that the new senator, Democrat Doug Jones, will most likely not get a chance to weigh in on it. Now, if that seems like that's improper, it is. It is improper. Because who's going to be voting in his place is the lame duck, the outgoing Senator Luther Strange. Because that's the spot. That's the seat that Doug Jones just won. So it would seem to anybody that, look, hey, we should probably hold off on this until Doug Jones is seated for the Senate, because that's what the people of Alabama want. That they made their choice. Doug Jones is it. So he should get a vote on this tax bill. Now, back in 2010, there is some precedence here. So back in 2010 in Massachusetts, there was a guy by the name of Senator Scott Brown who had just won his Senate seat, and it was somewhat unexpected that he won. Now, after he won, and you know, it takes a little while for the the results to be certified. It takes a while for to be seated in the Senate. So the Democrat that was there in his place was going to, at the time, they were trying to break the filibuster of they wanted to break the filibuster so that they can push through the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So they needed that Democratic vote. So they were going to allow the lame duck Democrat to do that. Now, the senator from Virginia, Democratic Senator Jim Webb, said that, look, I'm not going to be a party to any of this. What we should do is allow the new Senator Scott Brown to come in so that his voice can be heard on this issue, because he is the new senator. Quickly after Jim Webb said that, Mitch McConnell said, yep, here, I second that. I believe that's absolutely right. I guess he felt like that should be regular order. So he co-signed that, and that's exactly what happened. They waited until Scott Brown was seated, and then they went along with their business. Now, you would only suspect that they should probably do the same damn thing right now, but Mitch McConnell is saying, no, I don't believe so. No, I mean, well, he's not here yet. The results haven't been certified, so we're trying to get this thing done by before the holiday. So my hands are tied. I'm sorry. Can't do anything. If he's not here, he's not here. You know, we got to go ahead with the vote. So, of course, it's hypocritical, but what else is new? So like I said, I mean, it would be good that, you know, Jones was able to be there. Doug Jones was able to be there, because then he could vote against it, and then the Republican Party could only lose one vote, which they've already lost in Bob Corker. Now, would Marco Rubio be that second vote? Would Susan Collins be that second vote? We don't know. So I don't know. It's all up in the air right now. So we will see what happens with it, and we'll see how it manifests, how the negotiations between the House of Representatives and the Senate go, and what this final bill actually looks like. So I'm pretty certain that will happen next week, and we'll have some information on that. Okay. Still in Congress. Well, this is state politics now. In Kentucky State Representative Dan Johnson. Dan Johnson recently made headlines because he was accused of sexually assaulting a teenage girl in 2013. Now, he denied the allegation. And he denied the allegation on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, just a few days ago, he denied the allegation. He also said that this was some of the things that were being said was the first time he had ever heard them, even though this was 2013. And when this did happen, the accuser, she was identified as Miranda Richmond. She pressed charges, or she alerted the authorities later that year in April, I believe. Yeah. So this happened on New Year's Day in 2013, and she went to the authorities in April. So an investigation was open, but it closed without any charges being filed against Representative Dan Johnson. But just recently, the case was reopened. Detectives reopened the case, and now they're investigating again. Well, all right, so this is just the backdrop. So again, Representative Dan Johnson, he denied the allegation on Tuesday, and on Wednesday he was found dead. Just yesterday he was found dead. Apparently he committed suicide. He shot himself with a gun one time. He was found in front of his vehicle. His family became alarmed because he put out a Facebook post, and in the post he was rambling quite a bit, but it felt like a goodbye post. So that's when they tried to find him, and when they did, he was dead by then. I believe it was at 7:30 p.m. and when they found him, he was dead. And they have already done an autopsy, I believe, and they ruled it a suicide. So in this post that he posted on this message that he posted on Facebook, he said a lot of things. Like I said, he was rambling a lot. He said the accusations from NPR are false. God knows the truth. He said conservatives take a stand. He also said he talked about 9/11, 2001, NYC, WTC, World Trade Center, PTSD 24/7. 16 years is a sickness that will take my life. I cannot handle it any longer. It has won this life. And like I said, he rambled on for a while. He just rambled on, and like I said, that's what got his family concerned and why they wanted the authorities to find him, but it ended up being too late. Now the what he was talking about with September 11th, I believe he had claimed to help give the last rites to some people that were victims of the September 11th, 2001 attacks. So after his death was announced and the media started reporting on it, the governor of Kentucky, Matt Bevin, and Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, of course, along with others, they expressed their sorrow. They expressed their sorrow for him as well as his family, what they must be going through. And I do feel sorry for the family for dealing with this, because anytime you lose a loved one, it's going to be traumatic. It's going to be very hard. So I definitely feel for the family, no matter what type of person the individual is. There's probably somebody that loves them, so I feel bad that they have to go through that loss. But for the guy himself, I'm sorry, I don't have a nice thing to say about him. I don't know if he's actually guilty of the sexual assault or not. I'm not sure. This is the first I heard of it today, so I'm not sure if he's actually guilty of it or not. If he is, he's a horrible guy. But what I do know about him is that back in actually, I don't know exactly what year this was, but he made news for a different reason some years ago. He was the guy that he posted some images to Facebook, and in one of the images, it showed Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama. It showed them as monkeys. They on the face, they had a monkey face. Same eyes and everything. It was the same picture, but right here looked like they were monkeys. There was also another picture he shared, and in it, it was President Ronald Reagan, a young Ronald Reagan, feeding a monkey a bottle. It looked like a bottle of milk. And in the picture, there was a caption, and you know what? Let me see. I think I have it right here. Let's see. Hold on, yeah, let's see. Yeah, in the caption, it says, rare photo of Ronald Reagan babysitting Barack Obama in early 1962. Sorry. Can't cry a tear for this guy. Can't feel sad about this guy. You know, sorry your life is gone, but, you know, that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. All right, moving on. Oh, you know, just to, well, let me move back just a little bit. When those pictures got out and the media got caught wind of it, he put out a quote saying, "It wasn't meant to be racist. I can tell you that. My history's good there. I can see how people would be offended in that. I wasn't trying to offend anybody, but I think Facebook's entertaining." Now, I know my mother might be watching, so I'm not going to, you know, not gonna get explicit, but forget that guy, okay? Sorry. No sympathy for him. Sorry. No sympathy. Anyway, all right. I think I'll do, yeah, all right. So, yeah, I'll get to one other story, and then we're going to wrap this up. There is a lawsuit currently being... There's a lawsuit against the New Orleans Saints, the football team, the NFL team, the New Orleans Saints. And it's from a fan named Lee Dragna. Mr. Dragna is suing the New Orleans Saints. He's requesting a refund of his ticket costs. He is a season ticket holder. He purchased the season tickets. And he is requesting a refund and his attorney's fees because players kneeled for the anthem. Let that sink in for a second. You heard me right. Yep. Lee Dragna, Lee Dragna, New Orleans Saints fan who purchased season tickets, is suing the team because players kneeled for the anthem. Now, let's get into a little bit of the particulars about this. Dragna says in the lawsuit that he bought the suits. I mean, he bought the tickets, quote, for the entertainment and an intellectual enjoyment for he and his family. He also said that he never would have bought them if he had known prior to buying them that the players would be protesting and that they would be kneeling for the anthem. Or actually, I don't think he actually said the anthem in the he did say the anthem, but he used had he known that the players would, quote, use Saints football games as a platform for protest, he wouldn't have bought the tickets. Oh, he hasn't attended a Saints home game since week 2. Now, again, let's get into the details about this, okay? Let's get into the details about this. Now, it was week 3 that the whole, pretty much like the whole NFL was protesting because of what Donald Trump had said about sons of bitches and, you know, get them off the field, you know, and fire them, you know, whatever like that. When he insulted the NFL players, actually the whole NFL brand. That's what caused owners to get out on the field and lock arms. It was a wide showing. So the New Orleans Saints have been actually, let's put this in perspective, okay? So one of the players on the team, Mark Ingram, in response to this lawsuit, he put on Twitter, "The only time we protested an anthem was an away game. After a team meeting, we decided to kneel as one before the anthem was played and stand united as one during the anthem. Good luck, dude." So that's what he put on Twitter, right? So you go back and, I mean, he's absolutely right. When they actually did protest, they were on the road that week, okay? They were on the road. Now, Ingram was one of the players that sat on the bench during the playing of the national anthem. After that, they came together as a team and said, "Look, you know, let's come together, and I guess we're gonna see what we're gonna do." So they decided that they're gonna kneel before the anthem is being played, and they're gonna stand for it while it's being played. Now, why that would hurt anybody's feelings, their sensibilities, their emotions would get all, you know, all twisted up, you know, and cause them, you know, some kind of anguish, I don't know. Why would it annoy you? You have to think to yourself, why would that annoy you? Because it can't be about the anthem, because they're not making a show and during the anthem. Actually, they're standing together as one, locked arms. What could be more patriotic than that, right? What could exemplify unity more than that? So his problem is that whatever they're doing, they're trying to raise awareness for, and he doesn't want any part of that. But is that their responsibility? Is it the players' responsibility? Is it the team's responsibility? Is it the NFL's responsibility to say, hey fans, we're going to be doing this before the anthem or during the anthem or after the anthem? Like, it's actually, that's, you have no say in that. Now, this could be a lawsuit. This could be an actual lawsuit if, say, you bought season tickets for New Orleans Saints football games, and when you got to the games, they decided not to play football. They decided to do some miniature golf. Maybe they decided to start a game of dodgeball. Maybe they decided to just play poker on the field. If that was the case, yeah, you have a case. Yeah, you could probably sue them and get your money back. But you came to, or you bought the tickets to watch them play football. I'm pretty sure they played football in every single game that you purchased those tickets for. They played football in every single one of those games. So how is this not a frivolous lawsuit? They did exactly what they told you they were going to do. You're just a little perturbed that they're trying to raise awareness on issues that I'm sure you're against. I'm sure you're against it. So the team really hasn't responded to this lawsuit, but apparently, according to the ESPN article, though, they are taking it seriously and they are going to fight it, as they should. As they should. But also in the lawsuit, you can tell exactly what kind of mentality this guy has. There's another part of the lawsuit where he said the players that refused to stand for the anthem in week 3 were, quote, apparently following the lead of Colin Kaepernick by disrespecting the flag, the anthem, the USA, and those who have served and are serving the USA in our military. So, of course, you see exactly the mindset of this individual. You see that mindset. Even though you didn't pay for those seats. Week 3, Saints were on the road. You didn't pay for those seats. So if those players were sitting, Mark Ingram was one of those players that were sitting on the bench. Okay. But when it came to be the next home game, they knelt before the national anthem. And then during the national anthem, they stood. You're still upset. You're still upset. Exactly. Oh well. Oh well. Those lawyers' fees that you want recouped, not going to be recouped, buddy. You don't have a case. You have no case here, buddy. But hey, we just see how far some people will go, and will just parrot the same old talking points and rhetoric that does not make any kind of sense whatsoever. Disrespecting the flag, disrespecting the country, unpatriotic. Yeah. Because players actually want to raise awareness on issues, actually want to make the country a better place, they're being unpatriotic. So when they, when they appear in commercials trying to raise awareness for breast cancer or autism or whatever issue, that's being patriotic. But when you say, hey, police brutality, we have to do something about that. This, criminal justice system, we have to do something about that. Inequalities in our society, we have to do something about that. Yeah, that's too controversial. You don't want to hear anything about that. So it must be unpatriotic. Get that shit out of here. So whatever. Anyway, like I said, this is a frivolous lawsuit, and he doesn't stand a chance in hell. So good luck, buddy. Good luck. But yeah, all right, so that's all I got for tonight. Again, you know, this is a little abbreviated show. I can't believe it's actually already been hour and 15 minutes. Well, no, you know what? I came on late. Yeah, I did come on late. Yeah, because I was a little scrambling. Mike's not my man. Mike is not here. My co-host, my fellow co-host that is always here, wasn't here. So I was scrambling a bit, seeing what I need to do, what issues I was going to cover. But yeah, he will be back here on Tuesday after the weekend. I'm pretty sure that he will be here on Tuesday. He's good. He's good. For anybody that's wondering, I saw some questions in the feed. He's all right. He's all right. You know, of course, little shaken up as could be expected. I told him, you know, I'm just glad he's alive. You know, I'm just glad he's alive, because we know how these situations go sometimes, and some people do not escape with their lives. You know, so I'm glad that my longtime good friend Mike White is still here with us, still here with me, and he can still do this show, still breathe another day. So like I said, yeah, he'll be back on Tuesday, and I'm sure he'll have something to say about that. But yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Let me look through these comments a little bit. If anybody has a question or anything like that, I think I saw somebody saying you'd like to make a call. That was Jay. I'd love to have you call in, but it's not an option right now. Not an option. For some reason, Skype was working fine, and all of a sudden they changed things to where they don't. I guess the website is not supporting calls anymore. You have to go through the app, and the app does not work. You know, I don't know how many people use Skype. Okay, I assume a lot of people have gotten off of Skype, because you know it's probably old news by now, but I'm sure a lot of people still do. If anybody has a Windows computer and has Windows 10 operating on their computer, Skype comes with it. Okay, so Skype is an app that comes with Windows 10. Have you heard of anybody that has been able to receive a phone call through that app? I would love to know that information, because this is the second computer now, brand new computer. There are no bugs, there are no viruses, everything is in pristine working condition, and for some reason the calls will not come through on Skype, on that Skype app. That's the whole reason that we had to go through the browser. And that worked fine for 3 months. Worked beautifully for 3 months. It worked. But I guess they stopped supporting it. So we're going to have to find another avenue and get that refund. I'm definitely get a refund, because, you know, they own that. They own that stuff. But anyway, I would love to know that information. If anybody has ever successfully taken a call from the Skype app, that I would love to have that information. But again, yeah, there's some other avenues that we can go through. I think Zoom might be the best option that I'm going to be looking into, and hopefully by Tuesday's broadcast it'll be set up. It'll be a little bit more, I mean, it won't be that difficult, but there will be a number to call, and then you'll have to put in a like what is it, like an ID number or something like that, like to get into the meeting space. But you know, that's just an extra step, and then you know, then you can be heard. So like I said, I'm gonna get all that together, and hopefully it'll be done by Tuesday's broadcast. Let's see. Tell you right now, I feel like losing net neutrality will mean you can't accept calls anymore. Hey, could be at some point, you know, could be at some point. Like, look, we know they're full of ish, okay? We know they're full of it. To say that these rules were just government overreach and we don't actually need to protect consumers because, you know, I guess there hasn't been widespread examples of abuse by internet service providers. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? That's cute, isn't it? Now, again, see, as I said before when I was talking about this, you're only going to see that problem going forward. Like, you can't reach back into our past and look for examples because the past is different. In the past, these massive companies, these corporations, these cable companies, they weren't losing subscribers the way they are now. They weren't losing profits the way they are now. They're looking to do something to recoup those profits. What better to do that than to say, you know, what we could do is put a premium on content. You know, what we could do is these small content creators, if they actually want to get ahead, they're going to have to give up something. They might have to give up a little bit of the company. Maybe they have to pay a little bit. But hey, that's the price of doing business. That's the price of growing. There is no good reason to do this. There is no, whenever you deregulate an industry, what happens? Corporations go buck wild. They start abusing their consumers. It happens in any industry, insurance, banking. It happens everywhere, and it will happen with the internet. Why else would they do it? There's no reason. There's no reason. It was not slowing down, or it wasn't crippling innovation. That's preposterous. How could it cripple? How could it suppress innovation by treating content equally, by treating content fairly, the same, by saying that no matter if this content is coming from this small creator, this small time creator that's trying to make a name for themselves, or CNN, doesn't matter. We're going to treat it fairly. That doesn't stomp on innovation. That doesn't stomp on growth. Actually, that helps it. But by saying that ISPs will now have the ability, they will now have the ability to say, well, you know, if you really want to get ahead, we have an option for you. If you really want to, you know, increase your growth, if you really want to expand your reach, we've got a plan for you. That's not good for, no, that's not good for this country. That's not good for the world. That's not good for the free exchange of ideas. So again, it's dead right now, but it's going to be resuscitated. It will be. It will be resuscitated because this thing is not over. All right, let's see. Yeah, Moose Gal's asking where's Mike, but I think Mary explained. Yeah, Mike is not here. Yeah, he'll be back on Tuesday. How was the how was everything tonight? Was the audio okay? Video quality, was everything okay tonight? I'm usually able to pay more attention to you know, more things. I'm usually able to pay attention to a lot more things, especially like when Mike is talking. I can take a break and kind of focus on something else. Mary said, okay, audio and video were good. Okay, sounds good. All right, well, if anybody has any questions or comments or anything like that, you know, now's the time to do it. If not, I'm gonna sign off, and like I said, I'm anxious to get Mike back in this chair over here that I have pushed to the side so it's out of the camera. But yeah, I'm anxious to get him back, and like I said, we did have a few more issues to discuss, but they will not be stale by the time that we discuss them on Tuesday, so they'll still be relevant. And of course, Mike will probably have his story as well, so we'll talk about that. All right, Jay's talking about a long con going on right now. It's no coincidence that the same day they're holding net neutrality hearings and a bomb scare happens. Yeah, I did see some people questioning whether that was real or not. You know, was that for show? You know, was that just to, I guess, paint the people that object to these rules being repealed, you know, to, you know, I guess kind of paint them as savages, you know, these unhinged people that will do anything that will result of violence, you know. Could be. Could be. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I am not going to do a Facebook after show because that's a 2-person job, doing a Facebook after show, because we you know, there's no script for that, and we just kind of toss issues around and try to, you know, just kind of expand on them. So I'm gonna let that ride tonight. I'm just gonna let that go for tonight. Like I said, since I don't have my man, my partner, so like I said, I'm just gonna do this thing on Tuesday. But like I said, I'm glad everybody did join me for tonight's broadcast. I didn't want to just not do it. You know, the show must go on. I'm hopeful that I did a good enough job by my lonesome. It was the first time doing it just by myself. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you know, you got provided some insight on some issues, and you know, we're gonna continue doing this thing, and it will be a much better show with my co-host Mike on Tuesday. So again, I hope everybody has a good weekend, and in 5 days we will be here with a brand new episode of LTMB Live. It'll be at 7 p.m. same time on Tuesday night. So everybody, again, have a good night and have a good weekend, and I will see you with Mike on Tuesday. All right, peace out, everybody.